Into the ropes and off. A flying tackle by Anna Dropkick.
10 pounds of pure gold.
Gotta hold this just a minute. You want a little bit more?
I'm the real heavyweight champion.
Gotta be the best of me. It's more to me than anything I've ever done in wrestling.
They call this the first council of the championship as existed in its current province.
That can was pretty hard. And look at Buddy going to work now. Oh!
Hey everybody, it's Durger time. Thank you for joining me once again for another episode of TEW 2020's Billy Corgan's NWA. We have some kind of housekeeping to take care of, so I wanted to take care of that before anything else on the show. After the last show, which is our first 2-hour Power, it went pretty okay. I think financially it's a little concerning, just because I feel like we did $23,000 just in worker expenses, which is a little bit. I haven't crunched the numbers yet, but I think we're estimating to get in $142,000 per for sponsorship. So we figure that's $23,000. That's 80,000 in worker expenses, which is a little bit higher, and that's if we went all out, all crazy. And the show costs are probably about the same, so 80. So we should still be in the positive by the end of the month, but we're not going to make nearly as much money, which I think is okay. I'm not that concerned. We have a pretty good pool here, and we could certainly, we could sit flat and be fine. The capital is only really useful for paying workers and increasing our production costs. So our production is pretty much in line with everybody else, and we're meeting our minimum standards. So, whatever. We did lose our Canadian broadcaster, and that is going to be a problem for us, because right now that has scared away potential new broadcasters for a bit. I don't know for how long, but that could be a potential issue down the line. It really depends on how long they are scared for. Because where is my broadcasting? So, I don't know if we try to renegotiate with Mav for Power. I don't know what they So they're probably fine. So the extensions are going to be fine. I think it was mostly new. Let's see, shows that are in Canada that will negotiate. So something like this, I think they were generally a little scared. It's been less than a year since the collapse of your TNN show Power, and that makes them wary. So we're going to have to probably stay with whatever we have. I don't know if that sort of fear is going to be everywhere for all broadcasters. It is. So we're pretty much going to have to lock down and commit to the people we have, which is fine. I'm totally fine with the Mav TV. I might as well just expand it now. Expand the deal. Let's just extend it to 1 year. Perfect. That way we don't have to worry about it. We'll make sure we don't burn out of the other contracts, but because we're not going to be able to get a new contract right now because we got screwed on that broadcasting deal. Unfortunately, it was too hard to broadcast for. Now, our quality for Mav has to be 50. Everybody else is under. Makes things a little bit more difficult. Not immensely, because I think we've been consistently over 50. But there's been a couple times that we have not. So we just have to keep that in mind. Now, the other thing, in our roster, Scott Steiner is back and is retired. and annoyed because he was left off of Power. He's only a color commentary guy, and he's not good at color commentary. Really, 15 to 60s. I don't know what we're going to do with him. Can you do anything else? Can you be a manager? No, I don't want to do that. How about an on-screen personality? No, I don't want to do that. How about a road agent? No, I don't want to do that. So you're kind of useless to me. I think we're just going to let him go. See you, Steiner. I don't need another commentary guy, especially a guy that's not even that good at it. See ya. Bye. I don't think anyone will be that upset. That solves one problem, I suppose. But, yeah. That's... he came back to us, I guess, after the end of the last episode, or right before the last episode, and can't do anything, so pretty useless to us. Other than that, we don't really have anything else on the back end here that we have to worry about. We got Starrcade in 12 days, so we're barreling towards the end of our season, I suppose. And we do have Power in 6 days. So, storylines, we got a bunch kinda going on that we need to start because we kind of refreshed some of these. So obviously the Grand Slam of Danhausen, and then some other things going on. Some of these are ending, some of these are starting. So we'll have to probably transition, but we have basically about 2 shows before Starrcade, and I just want to make sure before we do this. 2 shows. Phoenix is not available on Monday. No, he will be because we're more important in CMLL, so he'll show up no matter what. So as long as we stay off of Wednesdays, we stay off of Tuesdays, we should be fine. So right now, I think that the plan of filming Mondays, airing Tuesdays is A-okay. And then we got, on Sunday, we got Starrcade. East Austin not being available is a bit of an issue. Not the end of the world, because we don't really necessarily have a program for him for this Starrcade, but I wanted him on it. I may have to see if I can borrow him for that day, just to ensure that we get him. But that's kind of annoying. All right, let's fast forward. Let's get to the next episode of Starrcade, and hopefully nothing crazy happens in the meantime. All right. What's going on in the news here? Chikara still trying their best to survive. They're not looking good financially. Neither is CZW. We still talking about maybe buying CZW. It's definitely in the cards. I'm kind of hoping that their financials improve a little bit. Though we should probably take a look at that. They're 52,000 in the hole. They're losing 10,000 a month, so they're only going to get more expensive. There's some potential here in just straight up buying them. There's some talent that we can get. So if we were to take them over, we could take them over and remain as their own company. I don't really think it's that useful. Though the idea of them being like NWA Philadelphia is fun. Pillaging them is interesting because we can just absorb any of their wrestlers. But most of their wrestlers we can just hire. And then disbanding them just destroys them completely. So I know it doesn't really make sense. I almost feel like taking it over makes more sense and just owning them, because always down the line we could do something with them. I don't know. I'm still on the fence about it, because honestly, I know a lot of people are saying pillage them because we could take their titles, they could take their events. You know, they don't have a training facility because I think they actually use the Wrestle Factory. But like, everybody here is on a PPA. I can hire anybody I want right now, right from them, and there will be no conflict. So pillaging it doesn't really make sense. The only thing that would make sense would be a takeover or disbanding it completely. And disbanding it would just remove it. Would cost me $52,000 to just remove them from the playing field completely. With a takeover, it cost me $52,000, and then I have a child company that I can always later on turn into a developmental. It'll be another thing of our alliance. We can move people over there on excursions if we don't want to use them anymore. Like that, I think, honestly, I'm leaning towards takeover. We probably won't do it until after Starrcade, so I'll give you guys some time to think about it. But that's kind of my thought processes. Right now, I'm thinking, why don't we take them over? We convert them to something else. We turn them to NWA Philadelphia, NWA Northeast, or something like that. And we make them a smaller, maybe we'll call them Championship Wrestling from Philadelphia, to kind of lean into the idea that the Championship Wrestling brand used to be kind of part of the NWA sort of division. I mean, there also was like NWA, was it NWA Smoky Mountain, stuff like that. So it's not like they didn't exist in that terminology as well, but make them like a child company, and maybe just utilize them for excursions and training and stuff like that. That's kind of my thought process. I think we can wait a month, or not even a month, 2 weeks and make that decision. But that's sort of my thought process right now. All right. We do have something going on here. Lance Archer is on a one-night deal with CWFW on Saturday. So presumably he was probably defending his Alliance Championship. BJW has Luke Gallows for handshake deal, and our power figures don't really matter. They're old. Does he still have it? Just gotta take sure. It doesn't seem like he defended it, though. I guess he just was on a... let's see. Oh, here we go. Yeah, he didn't defend it over there, so I don't really know what he was doing, unless this is for an upcoming match. Because Tim Storm defended it against Ace Austin. In Impact, but for Lance Archer, he hasn't actually defended it yet, even though he was just borrowed over at another show. I'm kind of curious to see what is that show available yet, or is that an upcoming show? That might have been actually an upcoming show. Let's see here. I'm very curious to see. Championship Wrestling. It must have been... Actually, do I have to go into... Not diary. I thought it was diary. News. Search. CWFW. And we want shows. Results. There we go. Saturday, week 1. That must be it. Few results. Lance Archer. So they brought Lance Archer over to just have a tag team match with the Mercs. And okay. Yeah, sure. Weird stuff happening over in on Championship Wrestling. Got Brody Lee cut a heated promo about Joey Ryan over there. EC3 and Peter Avalon confront each other backstage. They had a ladder match with EC3 and Carl Anderson versus Ricky Mandel and Peter Avalon. What? Jacob Fatu's over there. They kind of just took everybody from the from our show. It's using them, which is fine. I mean, that works. They're in their alliance, but what a weird thing. Wow. Okay. Well, good for them, I suppose. All right, let's move on to the show. Once again, we're auto-booked into the wrong spot, and we're never going to get it right. I think I tried that we actually can't select a venue for a TV show perennially, like how we would have it happen every time. Okay, new events, no other NWA happening, blah 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 blah. Last show was a 50. We have no backstage incidents. So we could just try to meddle. I'm actually going to do an open forum because I know we have some annoyances. It's going to reduce our, it's going to reduce some of our locker room atmosphere a little bit, but it's going to relieve some of the tension. And I know some people were a little annoyed, so. Quite a lot of people are annoyed. Irritated in some capacity. A lot of people. Oh boy. Okay. So that took care of that. Gives us a little bit of a bonus because they kind of. So now they'll have a little bonus that pleased to getting clear to air. Pinky George was upset a while back for being left off Power. You know, things like that. So some people had just some annoyances. FTR was very upset about being booking of a certain match. So, you know, it is what it is. I'm not being super concerned about it, but giving them a little bit of time to clear the air is probably not too bad. All right, so we got 2 shows of Power, still 120 minutes, so we got a longer show, and we have, you know, still a little bit of time to wrap up some story arcs, but we definitely have to move forward and kind of get closer to that go-home show to kind of finish off some things. So let's go ahead and do it. All right, guys, that was a long show. These 2-hour shows, man, they're rough to book, but we get a lot done. Got 125 minutes in the bag, ready to go. Let's take a look at Power. We start the show off with Pinky George coming out and announcing that the next match will, in fact, be a medallion match. I believe, someone correct me if I'm wrong, I think there's only been one medallion match so far, and I think Zicky Dice has it. So there's 5 total medallions, 4 up for grabs. Winner of this match will get one. Remember, if a person is in a medallion match and they have a medallion, if they lose that match by pinfall, that medallion will go to the person that pinned them, even if it's not for a medallion. So if they're in a tag match but they get pinned, that medallion will transfer over. Something to keep in mind. Hasn't happened yet, but it's certainly possible. All right, let's see how this match goes. This segment does okay. Pinky doesn't really have much here of value for us, unfortunately. Actually, this match is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. We got Wheeler Yuta, Sean Studd, and Jarek 120. It's subpar, has little heat though, but it's an opener, so what's going to be, you know. Jarek actually defeats Wheeler and Sean Studd in 8 minutes, and he ended up submitting Sean Studd during the triple threat. Wheeler carried the match, which is why we protected him a little bit, but for story purposes, we gave Jarek, our newest signee on the undercard, a medallion. So story for Smoking Aces does gain some heat. Segment gets a 42. Wheeler had a 46. Pretty significant performance, which is awesome. Sean Studd and Jarek had about mid to high 30s. And so now Jarek and Zicky Dice both have a medallion. Afterwards, we have a segment with Jocephus. He comes with the Colt to the ring with his book in his hand, new member draped in a cloak. And he seems to have a new message. And he says, "For so long, I've tried to tell you about the truth of this world, of this company, of this existence itself. And so many have failed to listen to our message. I simply want what's best for all. If we are to survive the hardships to follow that I know are coming, I have spoken to our divine leader who was ordained by the Lord of Light himself as a true messenger. And he has given us a crusade. We must show no fear in this path, as iron sharpens iron, and only the strongest can survive for what comes next. We've been too weak, too open, letting those who believe in simply for their beliefs. No longer, you must prove your worth. Prove you are ready to survive what's to come. This new believer, he has shown true strength." And the figure removes his cloak, and obviously it's Brody, who we've kind of moved down the card a little bit, and it's unfortunate we put him in another cult stable, but he's going to be a good muscle for the cult as it adapts. He goes, "For those who are truly worthy," Jocephus follows up, says, "Iron," and he points to Brody, "meet steel. Repent, adapt, survive, or perish." Got the crowd hotter. Segment was a 43, not too bad. Brody kind of helping Jocephus here. We should just have him always brooding behind him, and we'll get a guaranteed 40, which is pretty good. Afterwards, we have a match with the Cult of Jocephus, including Brody Lee, Colt Cabana, and the grounded Flip Gordon, versus War Machine and Brody King. The sort of fracturing elements of the board of directors. Brody Lee, obviously, and PCO not officially members, but hired guns by Nick Aldis when the time arises. It's a decent match. Colt Jocephus defeat Brody King and War Machine in 11 minutes. Brody Lee gets the pin and pin Brody King with a running big boot. In terms of in-ring work, Brody Lee was head and shoulders above everybody else, and Brody King was the weak link. So Brody was the best, and Brody was the worst. Match got a 47. Grounded had a 42. Colt Cabana had a 45. Brody had a 59. Brody King had a 30. Rowe had a 40, and Hansen had a 40. For some reason we advanced this Von Erich's legacy. I think it's because of War Machine. It's kind of weird. The match got the match got the crowd hotter, and Brody Lee looked good. Afterwards, there was some shenanigans near the end where Gordon almost lost the match, got kind of distracted, looked like he was kind of in a daze for a second before Brody had saved him. Jocephus, after the match, obviously looks furious and kind of makes a motion that almost looks like he's going to tell Brody to kill him, but instead motions to help him up. And Brody Lee helps pick up Gordon, and they kind of hobble back to the back of the stage. So there's some rustlings of maybe grounded Gordon's not fit for the Colt, and it seems Jocephus is eyeing him up. We have no specific segment or comments on the segment. It's a 37. It's fine. After that, we have a women's division match. We got a tag match between Nicole Matthews and Madison Eagles versus Ashley Vox and Kimber Lee. It's an extremely short match, though. Nicole Matthews and Madison Eagles defeat Ashley Vox Kimberly in 4 minutes and 55 or 53 seconds. Nicole Matthews gets the win on Ashley Vox with a Vancouver maneuver after a running rough shot on both of them. They're all about evenly matched, 50, 59, 55, and 51. Actually, not too bad. Thought Crimes does advance in this segment as a storyline and gains heat, and gave the crowd a little bit of a breather. So kind of cooled it down a little bit, which is what we need for a later match. And got us a 45. Not too bad. Afterwards, segment's not horrible. Madison Eagles and Nicole Matthews cut a promo in the ring. Obviously, they are members of their sort of group they're calling Thought Crimes. And they seem to be kind of tearing into their opponents here. Nicole Matthews grabs the microphone and says, "This is so goddamn disappointing." She looks down at Kimberly, who's on the ground, hurt. She seems to have sort of a bone to pick, let's say, and she kind of calls her out a bit. She goes, "Miss Joshi Princess herself, the queen of CZW, the first ever women's Chikara champion, reduced to this. Some bit player, another nice, clean face for the simps to throw money at the merch booth. You used to be something. You used to be an inspiration for us. Now what are you?" Madison Eagles grabs the microphone and kind of quips at her. Goes, "Maybe you should go start a Twitch stream instead of wrestle here. Because this is our ring now, and we're not letting any pretty faces take it over. It's all us to the very top. So you better get tough or get used to it." They leave. Kimberly's still hurt on the ground after their match and looks visibly angry at their comments. It gets a 36, not bad, and we advance the story of Thought Crimes here a little bit. Speaking of advancing tag team storylines, we got the Von Erichs backstage in the locker room. Daddy Kevin is leading the promo as the boys work out in the back, lifting weights and drinking shakes or whatever they do. And Kevin ends up kind of cutting a promo on the Contra Unit. He goes, "Contra Unit seems intent on having a rematch. I'm not sure why. My boys here already proved that they are the undisputed NWA Tag Team Champions for a reason. They have the brains, they have the looks, they have the bronze. And these barbarians want, what, a tables match? This is simply ridiculous. Jacob Fatu needs to get back in the line and not try to instigate violence." Before Kevin can go on, though, Marshall actually interrupts his father, all fired up, visibly upset. And he goes, "Contra Unit, we're not afraid of some tables. You want a tables match for the titles at Starrcade, you got it. We are the true lineage for these tag titles. A little bit of particle board isn't going to scare us." Kevin looks upset, looks almost a little concerned for his kids. Obviously, he's been kind of a negative influence on them, who used to be kind of squeaky clean, and now maybe they're a little bit tweeners, a little bit too overconfident in themselves now, and are going into a match that they're not very familiar with. So, obviously going to be a significant disadvantage for them. We advanced the Von Erichs Legacy storyline, gained heat for it. Angle got the crowd hotter. They were pretty happy with it. Segment could have been better, but 38's not too bad. Speaking about not too bad, we got Lance Archer defending his NWA Alliance Heavyweight title, National Heavyweight title. It's an extremely short match, though, that he's fighting against PCO, and it's 4 minutes, 29 seconds when Lance Archer beat up PCO so badly that a referee had to stop the match. That's the second stoppage in his reign. Lance had a 68, PCO had a 38. Lance was in amazing form right now, end up getting a 41. Not too bad. Afterwards, as the the wreckage is cleared from the ring, Pillman cuts an angle and ends up cutting a promo, demanding a rematch after his sort of a no contest last week after chaos erupted and the board of directors attacked. He's been told that qualified for his title shot gets to go to the back of the line now, and he wants a rematch for the number one contendership, who, for some reason, was given to Nick Aldis, obviously through backstage shenanigans. Nick Aldis, very confident, comes out and agrees to allow that match to happen and offer up his number one contendership. Very confident that the board of directors is going to be able to silence Pillman if needed. The segment does very well. It's a 54, got the crowd hotter. 10 pounds of gold does advance with this story. Then we have a main event between Pillman Jr. and Nick Aldis for the number one contendership at Starrcade. We have an exhibition match against Bianca Corelli versus Natty Neidhart. We were hoping this is a technical match. We're trying to get Natty some kind of technical match. Unfortunately, the crowd got rowdy. The point of the previous women's match was to cool them down, but I didn't expect them to get hot from like a promo. So, it is what it is. It had a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. Natty defeated Bianca in 14 minutes with submission, with a sharpshooter. Bianca had a 22, despite having an amazing technical skill, at least at our scouting prospect level. I don't know what happened there. Natty had a 56. Natty looked great, but the match ultimately was kind of a wet fart out there. 37, not what we wanted. Bit of a bummer. This segment was like 1 minute long. How could it be needing too little star power? This was really short, but apparently it got hurt because neither of them are popular enough to sustain it. Natty brags in the ring. Rosa comes out to confront her, and the two end up brawling, kind of leading to a Thunder Rosa versus Natty sort of event. Possibly next week would be a thought, probably for the number one contendership, leading into Starrcade. And it's a 30. It's not great. The announcing does give it a boost, but it definitely was poorly managed due to the star power issue. Probably wouldn't have been that much better, but maybe would have been like a 37 or something. We got the last of, I believe, the quarterfinals for our second shot tournament. After this, we are going to have 2 matches on the next Starrcade for the semi, and then the final for the second shot will be on Starrcade. Did I say Starrcade twice? I mean, on Power, 2 matches, and then the final match for the contract will be on Starrcade. So we're kind of barreling through the second shot tournament. At good wrestling, decent reaction from the crowd. Private Party defeat 2 guys, 1 tag in 12 minutes when Isaiah Cassidy pinned Josh Woods. It was part of the second shot tournament, and Mark Quinn had a 60, Isaiah Cassidy had a 62, Silas Young had a 48, Josh Woods had a 42. Got the crowd buzzing. 46 isn't bad. I'm getting a little concerned, though, about our ratings. We haven't had a major, really strong match. We've been under 50 so far. Hoping this main event really knocks it out. We'll have to see. It does not, though. Pillman, in fact, was off his game. Pillman Jr. versus Nick Aldis. Good heat, decent wrestling. Pillman Jr. defeated Nick Aldis in 16 minutes pinfall with a tornado DDT after a distraction from Eli Drake. Pillman Jr. gets a 44. Nick Aldis has a 49. We advanced 2 different storylines and got the crowd hotter, and it seems the animosity between Drake and Aldis are coming to a head, and it seems that the boardroom is dissolving as we see it, as Drake comes out deliberately just to disrupt Aldis and allow Pillman to get his win. Yeah. Afterwards, we have a brawl. Does okay. It's 51 for the segment. We have Drake and Aldis brawl for the end of the show. Really aggressively going all the way through a gorilla, going through backstage. It's a pretty long segment. It's like a 7-minute brawl. Eventually, they get to the garage where Drake ends up grounding him and basically beating him up on a car and toppling Nick Aldis. It seems that the animosity between the two of them clearly going head to head and bubbling off here. We have a potential heel turn, but actually, so this is funny because we originally had him as a he was set wrong as a face. He was supposed to be turned to a heel, but we actually want him as a face now. So we're gonna have to fix that. Gets us a 51. I hope we get a 50 for the show, so we don't upset any more of our network sponsors. I'm concerned though. I think we're gonna get like a 49, 47. Unfortunate. A little bit of weaker of a show. Maybe we could have used Miro or somebody else on here. I mean, it was a consistent show, but it lacked a little bit where we needed it. Had it in front of 491 people though. Overall, still increased our popularity in 24 regions, so not too bad, but a little bit disappointing. And presumably this is going to be upset. Mav TV is unhappy. We should be able to deal with that later, though. Cole Cabana says, Nicole Matthews talks well. Give her a promo time and the crowd will respond. And Eli Drake is upset with Brody King because he does not know how to sell. Okay. So a little bit of feedback from them. It's not that bad. Unfortunately, we needed a bit of a better show, and we didn't quite get that here. Financially, looking fine. It's about 20 a show for the longer ones. It's not the end of the world. So that lines up with what we're talking about. We're probably about 80. We're probably going to be under this month because of Starrcade, but we're going to be probably paying about 100. So we're probably still going to be getting a little bit of money after. Probably something closer to like 10,000 a month gain. So 2 hours show doesn't seem too bad at all. I think it'll be very easy to manage. And we got one more Starrcade before. Actually we don't. Let me fix this. I actually don't want. I want one more power before Starrcade. I misread that because I think we need one more to kind of link it up. So Starrcade instead of week 2, we needed actually week 3 Sunday. Early enough that we can do this. This show is going to cost us a lot of money because of these special ones and stuff like that. So week 3 in September there. That's fine. There we go. Perfect. So yeah, because we need one more episode of Power and then Starrcade. So that will fit perfectly with what we need to do storyline wise. It will financially cost us a lot. We will lose money this month, but won't be too bad. And I think a 2-hour show is sustainable. We just might need. We might need a stronger upper mid card, and I have a plan for that. And that'll come after Starrcade. We just got to make sure Power is really good, at least 50 up, to get that popularity. But if you look at what we had for the tournament, Lucha Brothers versus Private Party, I'm pretty sure a high spots match for that is going to give us amazing ratings. And Good Brothers versus FTR should be a very strong match. I think both of those alone will give us over 50 in our match ratings for next week, plus whatever else we do. So, shouldn't be too bad. Thank you guys for joining me. I will see you next time for another episode of Power on Billy Corgan's NWA. See you next time.